All right, YouTube, what is going on? It is Zaya here from Zaya&TheSteelers back with another video. And in today's video, we are going to be talking about the Pittsburgh Steelers as the regular season has begun. So if you guys are Steelers fans or you enjoy NFL content in general, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers. Shout out to the people who have subscribed already. And shout out to the future subscribers, man. Also, let's get a shout out to the members. If you guys would like to support me and this channel more, be sure to hit that join button down in the description below. And we're a little behind, man. We are a little behind on the content. I understand. A lot of things have happened in this offseason period. In like the last week, right after the preseason, right before the regular season, it was like, you know, it was supposed to be nothing. But the Steelers specifically, I feel like, have done a lot of things, including, but not limited to. We have re-signed Cameron Heyward. We have given him a contract extension, so let's get a gunshot for that. Obviously, if you guys have been on the channel for a little bit, this was a story that I was kind of, I don't want to say carrying, but, you know, it was definitely something. It was something for me to talk about, and I voiced my opinions. I was very vocal on, we got to get this guy, Cameron Heyward, another deal. We have to make sure he retires a Steeler, and we have to make sure he retires a Steeler, one, when he wants, but then two, on the right note, because say he just walked away after the end of last season, you know, we made the playoffs, but we didn't win again. It just wouldn't have felt right, especially with the career that he's given us, the effort that he's given us. He's just been a legend, man, and he's like the last remaining piece of when we were a good team, you know, the last remaining piece of when we were like a Super Bowl contender, Super Bowl threat. You know, obviously this is when like we had like the James Harrisons and the Big Bens and like the, you know what I'm saying, players like that. I believe he played in the 2011 Super Bowl. If I'm wrong about that, let me know. That might have been his rookie year now that I'm thinking about it. But yeah, he's like the last remaining piece and the last remaining piece of an era. And so for Steelers fans, for people to just be out there like, oh yeah, you know, fuck Cameron Heyward, he's overpaid, like we don't need him anymore, like it's just ridiculous, man. Honestly, it was just ridiculous because I get it, you know, a lot of the times some like in these situations like you overpay for the player and like he's getting up there and it's just like, oh, you're wasting cap space or whatever. But fam, what are we doing if it's not extending Cameron Heyward, man? Like, what the hell are we doing if we can't get Cameron Heyward under another contract and we can't let him play out until he has decided that he is done? And I think it is overblown, like his regression. I get, you know, maybe he's not like primed out Cam, maybe he's not like the same guy he was. But can we talk like he had some injuries, right? Like he had some injuries. He's up there in age. But at the end of the day, this guy is a legend, man. And once again, we're not really doing much. You know, like we tried to get a wide receiver. That didn't happen. Our quarterbacks are making $0 and 0 cents. Our offense, like there's nobody, like there is nothing else going on. And to be honest, you know, I'm going to talk about how confident I am in the Steelers, right? As a biased Steelers fan, but also a real Steelers fan. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm biased, but I keep it real with you guys. I don't just say things to say things, right? So like for the videos, for, you know, like shits and giggles, yeah, you know, like we can win the Super Bowl this year for sure. We can definitely win the Super Bowl this year, like for shits and giggles, right? But honestly, okay, like in full transparency, you know, maybe this isn't our year, right? Like the rest of the NFL world is looking at us and they're like, you know, you guys suck. I'm not exactly there, but you know what I'm saying? Maybe it isn't our year, right? Like maybe we're not gonna get it done this year specifically, okay? But with that said, we might as well sign Cameron Heyward if this is the option. You know what I'm saying? Like if we're not gonna go out and win a Super Bowl, which I hope we do. I have faith, but like just, you know, you flip a coin, you simulate 100 seasons, and like how many times did the Steelers win? Maybe like 1 or 2 times. You know what I'm saying? If we simulated the season, we probably win the Super Bowl like 1 or 2 times, okay? Out of 100. So you know what I'm saying? Like if that's not where we are, if we're not this perennial contending team, and if we give Cameron Heyward this deal, it's gonna completely fuck it up. If we're not that, which we're not, why not just re-sign Cameron Heyward? Why not give the legend another, I think it was like 3 years, and so we will see if he ends up playing out the 3 years. Like, we will see how it affects our cap space moving forward in the future. But for right now, we have a happy Cameron Heyward. And just because we have a happy Cameron Heyward, we have a happy Zaya from Zaya&TheSteelers, man. Shout out to Cameron Heyward. But obviously, he re-signed a little bit ago. Like I said, I'm kind of late to the party at this point when talking about this. But that's just how the cookies have crumbled in this session. Next up, Cam's new deal is very good for the Steelers. Didn't add any guarantees, LOL. I'm not sure why this deal wasn't done a long time ago. This deal should have been done months ago, man. Like, okay, maybe because of like the Brandon Ayuk thing, maybe like we were really trying to finesse something here. Maybe we were really trying to go out and like, you know, we were going to have to use this cap space. And so like we couldn't immediately re-sign Cameron Heyward, or we couldn't immediately give him an extension, right? Maybe that's the case. But You know what I'm saying? Like, this should have been done a while ago. Like, I shouldn't have had to make like 2 or 3 videos months ago talking about like, hey, let's re-sign Cameron Hayward, guys. And then like you see the comments and like you see the replies on it. It's just like, no, we can't do that, man. We can't re-sign Cameron Hayward because we're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Like, it was just absolutely ridiculous, guys. Like, can we be honest? Now that he's under contract, now that he is back, can we talk about like just the foolishness you people put on the internet, man? This is unbelievable. We're talking real profile pictures, real names, real like, hey, I work here in my bio. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are real people who are like commenting like, yo, and Steelers fans, mind you. Like, this isn't like random Browns fan who just hates the Steelers. And so it's like, ha ha ha, Cameron Hayward sucks. Like, no, this is like people who are like, I love the Steelers. I love the Steelers, but let's get rid of Cam Hayward. Like, he sucks. He's trying. Like, it's just absolutely crazy, man. And I compared it to the Big Ben situation because like you rewind a little bit. I've been a Big Ben truther for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess his last season, like, was his last season. Like, everyone at that point was like, yeah, he's done. But you know what I'm saying? I was trying to move on from Big Ben a little bit before it happened. Not because like I didn't like the guy, not because like his ability, I believe, like, was a little overblown in terms of how bad he was. Like, I still believe he had good football to play. But the problem was his salary cap was just absolutely munching our overall. You know what I'm saying? Like, Ben was making a pretty penny for his play, right? And in terms of where Big Ben was at during that time and where Cameron Hayward is at during this time, I don't think I'm crazy for believing Cam at this point was better than Big Ben was at this point. And I remember two people defending Big Ben, and I'm just like, oh, okay, guys, you guys want to just keep losing. It's fine. It's cool. Like, I remember being in that position. And so fast forward it to now to where, like, I'm looking at people saying the same things about Cameron Hayward, and I'm feeling a way about it. I understand how you guys feel about Big Ben now in hindsight. Okay. Like, I get it, you know, and it's Big Ben. He was a legend, and we'll talk about Big Ben here in a second. I get it. But you know what I'm saying? Like, we let Big Ben stay. You know what I mean? Like, we let him stay. We gave him another contract. We restructured it for the guy. Like, and we did the same thing for Cameron Hayward. So, you know, if you guys aren't on the Steelers yet, if you're a player out there and you're not on the Steelers currently, just look at how we treat our players, man. Look at how we treat our legendary players, man. If that doesn't make you want to come to Pittsburgh, I don't know what will. Also, too, if you're a wide receiver and, you know, you want to come to Pittsburgh, I'm not going to lie, with the way we've been dealing wide receivers lately and, like, the way we can't get any besides through the draft, like, if you're a wide receiver, I would say, you know, probably don't come to Pittsburgh, man, because, like, we've had a lot of wide receivers and, you know, they've all come and gone. We're not really the most keen on re-signing receivers, but everybody else, any other position, maybe running back too. We'll talk about Najee. But anybody else, we will take care of you, man. We definitely will take care of you if you are out there and, you know, you want a contract. We will take care of you, man. Especially, too, if you play defense. We got the highest paid defense. We will fucking overdraft our bank account in order to get a highest paid defense, man. You know what I'm saying? I wonder if we have overdraft fees. I know there's, like, something for going, like, over the salary cap, but I'm just kind of joking around here. For overdrafting in the NFL, right? Like, if you spend more than the salary cap, obviously you can't technically. But the way teams be working the salary cap, it makes it seem like it's not real, right? But kind of like banking, like if you overdraft your account, you get a fee. Like, I wonder if we've gotten a fee for how much we have spent on the defense, because we are spending 9 times more than any other place on defense. It's kind of similar to, you know, how one country is spending way more on one thing than like fucking 50 times more than every other country in something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder if that's how we operate. I wonder if that's how we're looking at ourselves. Like, hey, man, whatever it takes, whatever we got to do, fuck it, spend 20 times more than the next team on defense, because eventually it is going to work, man. So, you know, there was that. Shout out to Cameron Hayward for getting a contract. Like I said, he's a legend now. I really like Cameron Hayward, and I'm glad he's around, man. Next up, oh, look at that. We got Big Ben. News. Steelers legendary quarterback Ben Roethlisberger is concerned about the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver room. My concern is what's behind George at receiver. You got rid of Deontay Johnson. All right. So we're going to watch this. Shout out to Big Ben.
My concern is what's behind George at wide receiver.
I have no idea.
A couple slot guys.
Not too much on Van
smaller
Jefferson.
guys that can do some really cool things, but you know, you got rid of Deontay Johnson.
We did get rid of Deontay.
Well, that was a one-for-one trade you was telling me.
I think there might have been something else involved, but I'm sure that the Niners would have done that right now.
Yeah.
But again, that's just
You think they would have went?
I think
You think they would have went?
Deontay for Ayuk?
DJ with Ayuk?
I think it would have helped. It might not have been. There might have been other things involved, but I think it would have helped.
Oh, for sure.
But anyway, so it'll be interesting to see it happen. I'd like, again, if I'm going to critique the preseason, and I got to watch.
Critique it.
I try to just watch like the starters when they are in. So it's hard to know everything. This last game, Russ played one series and they went and scored in like 4 or 5 plays, and that's awesome.
Yeah.
But to me, that's such a small sample size. Like, and one of them was like a 30-yard pass and I think a 30-yard run.
Well,
so
they
2 of those plays were huge.
And this is not to take away from the play calling or the execution of it, because I was extremely happy with what I saw. But they also started on the 40 because of this new kickoff.
Because that new kickoff rule.
Oh, now it's the new kickoff rule.
And so it's just, I don't know. I would have liked to see a little bit more. But I asked for that last year too.
Yeah.
And maybe they'll
needy.
They'll go on a streak. I am so needy. I need to see more.
I want to watch more football.
Okay, so this started. I really only had this up because I thought he was going to talk more about the receiver room. I thought he was going to go in depth, but it turns out it seemed like they were just they mentioned that and then they talked about the preseason game. Shout out to football and with Big Ben. Newsflash, literally everybody in the entire world is looking at our wide receiver room like we're insane. You know what I'm saying? Like even Big Ben is like, I look behind George Pickens and there's not much there. You got some slot guys. Shout out to some slot guys, man. You got some slot guys, but other than that, it's bone dry out there. It's empty. And on top of that too, I asked for this last season. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's literally what Big Ben said. And then on top of that too, man, I didn't see shit in the preseason, man. Like, who should be the quarterback? Me, Big Ben. That he didn't say that, but you know what I mean? Like, I don't know what to take from this. Like I said, I thought he was going to talk more about the receiver room, but it is cool to see Ben talking about the Steelers as well. One day we're going to get Ben on Zaya and the Steelers. Big Truz. We're going to ask him the hard-hitting questions, man. We're going to ask him, we're going to ask him the hard-hitting questions. But, yeah, like we've talked about this numerous times. I don't really want to go too in-depth about the wide receiver room again. But it just goes to show why is AB tagged in this? But it just goes to show that everybody in the world is doubting us. Everybody in the world has no faith in our wide receiver room. And so, it's up to us to prove them wrong. That's really all we can do at this point. All we got to do is prove them wrong. Big Van Jefferson, big Scotty Miller, big Quez Watkins, big who else? Damn man, who else do we have at wide receiver? Am I forgetting somebody? Big Calvin Austin, big Roman Wilson. We gotta double down. We gotta really show the NFL world that hey, we are not just some scrubs. We are not just some bums, Big Ben. We can play. We can play. And maybe we shouldn't have traded Deontay Johnson in hindsight, man. And maybe we shouldn't have traded Deontay, but that is what it is. Speaking of the wide receiver room as well, we have Mike Tomlin talking about the wide receiver room.
Some questions even dating back to the spring, and to be quite honest with you, I probably went in the receiver room about a couple of weeks in the camp and told them that. I just believe in being really transparent. But the consistency in which those guys performed in Latrobe and through team development has made me more comfortable. And specifically, I'm talking about Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson.
Yeah, big Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson, man. So Mike Tomlin said he had concerns about the Steelers wide receiver room, but says 2 veterans have emerged to make him feel better about it. And the 2 veterans, I'm assuming, like he said, are Scotty Miller and Van Jefferson. Big Van Jefferson, man. I've become a Van Jefferson fan over this past month or two, so shout out to him. Scotty Miller, I wasn't really the most in on, I'll be honest. I wasn't really like that. I'm still not the highest on Scotty Miller, but for Mike Tomlin to say that, for Mike Tomlin to feel confident now in the veterans, to feel confident now in the Scotty Millers of the world, it makes me feel a little bit more confident, man, because this is Mike Tomlin we're talking about. The guy has never had a losing season. He is a Hall of Fame coach. He is a legendary coach. And so, man, hey, not Roman Wilson, but Roman Wilson, you know what I mean? He's someone who's going to show out for us. But Scotty Miller, Van Jefferson, Mike Tomlin said this about you, man. You know what I'm saying? Mike Tomlin came in there and was like, yo, I'm looking around at our 4 wide receivers that we have on the entire roster right now, and you guys suck. I don't know if you guys know that, but you guys suck. That's what he said, opening day of training camp. But as time went on, as, the routes went on, as the catches happened, Mike Tomlin was like, you know what? Maybe we are going to be a good team. Maybe this is a good wide receiver room, man. Maybe we do have some veterans on the team that we can be excited about, that we don't have to cry and whine and oh, we need Brandon Ayuk. Maybe, just maybe. We got a really stacked wide receiver room, and it's everybody else who's wrong. Now that Mike Tomlin said it, it changes my whole perspective on it. We do have some veterans out here, and like I said, if Mike Tomlin feels good about it, I feel good about it because I love Mike Tomlin, man. Next. A difficult stat to stomach is that, I wanted to put this over here, but, Cam Hayward, I talked about this a little bit. He's 1-7 in his career in playoff games. 1-7 in playoff games is actually kind of nuts that he started or played in. So I'm trying to figure out, was it the Chiefs game? I think it was the Chiefs game when Boswell hit a field. It was either the Chiefs game or the Dolphins game before that. I can't, unless he missed that whole playoff run too. What game have we won recently? Because I know, obviously, the Denver thing happened. I know he was there then. Before that, I believe, was the Super Bowl run against the Packers. And, obviously, we won more than one game then. And I think he played in that. So I don't know what the game was that he won But I'm doubling down on either the Chiefs or Dolphins in 2016 that was the game. Or it could have been that Bengals game in 2015. I forget if Cam Hayward played during that one. But damn. I just named 3 games that Cameron Hayward potentially could have played in, and he's only won the one of them, but like he's been on the team since. So that's weird. Maybe Cam just like hasn't been there in like these playoff processes. But the fact that he's 1-7 is kind of crazy. I wanted to put this a little earlier. I just, I messed up on the whole timeline thing. It is what it is. It happens. Mistakes happen. Next up, we have a quarterback power rankings week 1. And something I wanted to talk about here, we got Russell Wilson at 24. And then Jacoby Brissett above him. Now, and Derek Carr, and okay, guys. Will Levis, too. Okay, guys. This is absolutely ridiculous. Something I wanted to talk about here. This has nothing to do with anything, but can we let go of this Jacoby Brissett thing, man? No offense to Jacoby Brissett. I understand, he's had the opportunity to play and whatnot. And maybe he is good enough to, really be around like this. But can we stop naming Brissett as an option for the Steelers? I seen something and people are mad we didn't go out and get Jacoby Brissett. I feel like this guy has had chance after chance after chance to you know what I'm saying, turn up to really be this quarterback guy. This Geno Smith even, who's someone who was falling out and then he got an opportunity in Seattle and he's taken that and ran with it. Jacoby Brissett, I feel like he hasn't gotten he's gotten opportunities, but he hasn't ran with it, and so the fact that we're rating him above Russell Wilson to me is just absolutely asinine. It is fucking ridiculous for Jacoby Brissett to be better than Russell Wilson. But hey, whatever, man. We will see. And he's also a Patriot, and Patriots get +5 stats because they cheat. So I guess, like I said, we'll see if Jacoby Brissett is actually him. But the fact that he's rated over Russell Wilson is 24, below Derek Carr, Will Levis, Baker Mayfield, Anthony Richardson, for God's sakes. The guy played 4 games, but he's just better than Russell. Okay. You know what I'm saying? Okay, this is just unbelievable. And then 2, fucking Josh Allen being above Lamar Jackson. How many times are we going to do this shit? Matt Stafford being above Dak. How many times are we going to do this shit? It's a bit ridiculous, man. CJ Stroud above Joe Burrow. I like that, though. I like it. Look at Justin Herbert all the way down here at 8. That's respect. Why is Matt, I guess he won the actual championship, but for Jalen Hurts to be below Love, I actually do believe, and fucking Tua down here too, I do believe right now, I guess, Love above Hurts, but in terms of the narrative, I don't really see how you put Love above Hurts, and same thing low-key with Tua. Why is Tua all the way down here? I don't know. This isn't a whole power ranking myself. Maybe I will do that in another video, but I want to talk about Jacoby Brissett being rated high. Jacoby Brissett specifically being rated higher than Russell Wilson, because how? And Sam Darnold at 26, Sam Darnold should be all the way down here. Sam Darnold should literally be 32, man. How is Bo Nix all the way? And Caleb Williams, he'll rise up there. Look at Deshaun Watson down there, man. Cleveland Browns are in the mud. They suck, bro. Deshaun Watson is the worst quarterback in the league because Caleb hasn't played, Jaden Daniels hasn't played, and Bo Nix hasn't played. Deshaun Watson, they're literally calling him the worst quarterback in the league who has played before. Daniel Jones even above him. That's respect. You know what I'm saying? I understand that this makes perfect sense to me for Deshaun Watson to be at 29 for sure. But everybody else, it's definitely a weird list. Next, speaking of Russell Wilson, Steelers quarterback Russell Wilson needs just 16 touchdown passes to become the 4th player in NFL history with 350 touchdown passes in his first 13 seasons. He will join Peyton Manning, Drew Brees, and Dan Marino. All are first ballot Hall of Famers, man. So this is what I was talking about earlier with all of the stuff Russell Wilson has to play for, not only, to make the team better, but his own personal legacy, because at one point, this guy was this really highly rated quarterback. He was this stat machine stuffer. He was this guy who was putting up stats, and it's these last 2 or 3 seasons have really kind of kaputzed his NFL narrative, his NFL story, right? But the stats are there, and if he can just get back up, if he can have a little curve back up, then the talks about him can be so much higher. You know what I'm saying? He has the stats. He has damn near the accomplishments, low-key. Maybe an MVP. He's not going to win MVP, but maybe if somehow he were to do that, you know what I'm saying? He has the perfect opportunity to really go back up in terms of these NFL rankings and narratives. And if he plays well here in Pittsburgh for this year and maybe next season or something like that, he puts up good stats, he might finish as a top 10 quarterback of all time, man. You know what I'm saying? He might fuck around and do that. Like I said, he has the accolades. He has the stats. He may be missing that solo MVP, which will hold him back. But if he can get another championship, that'll be 2. He'll have all the all-time stats. Russell Wilson has a lot to play for. And this is another reason why we should be really excited about having Russell Wilson, because not only did we upgrade the quarterback room exponentially, but this is a motivated guy. Hopefully this is a guy who like is trying to fight for his NFL life, his NFL role, his NFL rankings. And I think he'll do it, man. And you look at him in that number 3 jersey, Walter Payton Man of the Year. It's just inspirational, man. So I am excited for Russell Wilson for sure. Next up, Arthur Smith on feelings about returning to Atlanta in week 1. I'm not really an emotional, petty person. Arthur Smith, I will be emotional and petty for you. I've talked about this numerous times. The Atlanta Falcons tried to sabotage your career because their players didn't want to learn your playbook. The Atlanta Falcons tried to sabotage your career because they play in a dome, I think. The Atlanta Falcons are going to lose week 1 to the Pittsburgh Steelers. You know why? Because Arthur Smith is back. Arthur Smith is him, and Arthur Smith is our offensive coordinator, man, and he has a mustache, bro. Like, this guy, like, there is nothing that can stop Arthur Smith on week 1. And I think we're going to put up 35 points on the Atlanta Falcons. No lie. Like, I think we're going to absolutely stomp them. And so, Arthur Smith, you don't have to be emotional. You don't have to be petty. Zaya and the Steelers has you, man. Like, I have you, guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, you are my offensive coordinator, and I will go to battle for you, Arthur Smith. The Atlanta Falcons, you guys, you deserve everything that's about to come to you here on Sunday at 1 p.m. And Arthur Smith, by the end of the game, everyone will be looking at you a little differently. Like, were we wrong about Arthur Smith? And yeah, you were wrong about Arthur Smith. But guess what? The Steelers were right about Arthur Smith. We gave him a chance. We trust the guy. And hopefully, just hopefully, we don't get let down, man. That's really all I have to say about that. The last thing that I wanted to talk about here, it is quite the article, man. It is quite the read. And shout out to Mark Cabali he was on the Pat McAfee show and said this. Pretty much, it is the dichotomy of why Dan Moore cannot play right tackle. Because what are we always talking about? It's like, why is Dan Moore on the left side when Broderick Jones is the left? Like, why not just put him at right tackle? You know what I'm saying? And put Broderick in the position he's supposed to be playing in, right? So we're going to go through and we're going to read this, and maybe we will learn some things about Dan Moore. You can confidently say that Dan Moore Jr. has spent a moment or two educating himself on exactly why he's unable to play right tackle at the NFL level yet. Just fine, or at the NFL level yet, it is just fine when he's more difficult at the left tackle spot. So pretty much it's more difficult to play left tackle, but he can't play right tackle. How much reasoning Moore has put into figuring out why that has become such a sobering reality could easily be made into a senior thesis entitled, Dan Moore, Biomechanically, Some Bodies Aren't Made to Move That Way. Quote, I really thought about it a lot, Moore said. It's a huge difference for me going from right to left. Some can do it successfully. I haven't been able to. To the credit of the Steelers coach, Mike Tomlin, he realized that early after they drafted Moore in the 4th round in 2021, Moore played some at right tackle training camps as a rookie and a few games in the preseason before the organization decided it was either going to be left tackle or nothing for Moore moving forward. Even though Moore has been much maligned over his 3 years and has been a whipping boy for everything that ails the Steelers' offensive line, he started all 49 games he's dressed in the last 3 years and has held off the top 20 picks in each of the last 2 years to hold on to his starting job, including this year. When the Steelers open the season in Atlanta on Sunday, Moore will start at left tackle. Last year's first-round pick and left tackle of the future, Broderick Jones, will play the right. And this year's first-rounder, Troy Fautanu, who has been nursing a knee injury, will wait for Moore to falter to get his chance. Tomlin didn't sugarcoat the fact that the organization has gone out of their way to upgrade their left tackle spot with the hopes of upgrading their talent at this critical position. I think that's professional football, Tomlin said about bringing in competition yearly. I think we are continually trying to replace people and place people to be better and continually getting better in an effort to sustain and grow, and that's kind of reflective on his approach and what's happened with him. The Steelers want to eventually move Jones to left tackle and have Fautanu at right, but for now, they have no choice but for the betterment of the unit to place players in spots where they can succeed. For Moore, that's left tackle. Tomlin has said in the past that Moore is significantly better at right tackle. For Moore, that's left tackle. Tomlin has said in the past that Moore is significantly better at right tackle. This is why that is, as told by Moore. As a tackle, when you are pushing off, you push off your leg. It's completely different when you are pushing off your kick leg when you are going to the other side. Moore said, my right leg is just naturally stronger because I have so many more reps pushing off that leg. My left hip is a lot longer than my right hip because my left hip always turns when I am pushing guys out. When I am on the right side, my outside leg is shortened, so my edge is shorter. My kick is shorter, and it's hard for me to push off. A lot of things go into it, not to mention your hands and feet matchup. While Moore admits that he can't do it well, Jones can. Last year's first-round pick is a natural left tackle, but has yet to play that position since getting drafted. The Steelers are okay for now to play Jones out of position because it's needed and he's talented enough to do it. He is so athletic that he's made the transition to right tackle. They felt at least short term that they would make him play right tackle, Moore said. He's done an excellent job. It's definitely not easy. Some of it may be psychological at this point for Moore. He's convinced that he can't play right tackle. All right, man, I am done. This is a lot. And Dan Moore, like, you are a guy, bro. I love Dan Moore, and it's amazing that we got this quote. But the guy just cannot play right tackle, bro. He can't. You know, it's something in his mind. It's something with his body. The guy cannot play right tackle, man. Like, it just won't work. It won't happen. And so this is why, like, you know, we're sitting here questioning. We're trying to figure out why the heck we keep doing this, why Broderick Jones is in the wrong position. It is because Dan Moore literally cannot play right tackle. He can't fucking do it. He can't. And then the team has seen it. We've seen him play at right tackle, and Mike Tomlin said, you know what? It's either you stay at the left tackle or we're going to cut you, you know? Like, that is literally what's happened. And so I guess we get answers. And, like, shout out to Mark Cabali for this article. This is, like, really well written, even though I can't read. It's really well written, and it, like, really does go in depth about Dan Moore. And it is, you know, so this is like this. We needed this. You know what I'm saying? How many times have I come on here, like, questioning, you know, why the heck? How many times have you guys questioned why the heck is Dan Moore the guy at left tackle when we could just move him to the right? We can't. He can't play right tackle. It just will not end well if he plays right tackle. So, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. Take from this what you guys want. This is, like I said, it was from Mark Cabali. This is like a tweet. He said it on the Pat McAfee show, which I think he is, like, on the Pat McAfee show now. I think that's, like, his job. So, you know, if you guys want to, like, see the whole thing, definitely check that out. But I just thought it was interesting that, like, yo, this guy Dan Moore, literally he just can't play right tackle, man. Like, it just, you know what I'm saying? Hands up. I don't know. Like, it's in his brain at this point. Like, he just can't fucking do it. So that's how we found ourselves in this position. Troy Fatanu also is kind of hurt, and so that gives Dan Moore the edge. Eventually, I believe Troy is going to come back, and then, like, we'll do the little switcheroo, and Dan Moore will go on the bench. However, like the article said, he's done a really good job in fighting off these first-round picks, man. He plays just good enough at left tackle in some way, somehow. He does just good enough at left tackle to be able to stave off these people. And so, you know, you got to love it. Dan Moore, he's been a Steeler for a while. We love dunking on Dan Moore, so I love Dan Moore. But it is very, like, this was very interesting. Like, the guy just cannot play right tackle. Like, if it comes down to it and he has to play right tackle, we're putting Connor Hayward at right tackle before we're putting Dan Moore at right tackle. Like, that's what I got from this. Like, the guy, he just can't do it. So, you know, what do you guys think about this? Let me know down in the comments below. Otherwise, though, I think that is going to do it for this video. As I mentioned, I feel like I was behind in a lot of things. Like, I wanted to get on here and talk about some of the situations that have been happening. And we got a game not only tonight, but the Steelers play on Sunday. But, of course, the Ravens and Chiefs are kicking it off here. Yeah, that's, like I said, that is going to do it. We are back. Welcome back to the NFL season, ladies and gentlemen. This has been Zaya from Zaya&TheSteelers. If you guys enjoyed, be sure to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell once again. Check out some of my other videos, and I will see you in the next one. Peace out.